The NFL has gotten involved. We know this.
Yeah.
The Baltimore Banner broke the story about Ravens kicker Justin Tucker, the allegations. When the first story came out, I forgot what it was, 7 or 8 women, and then he totally denied everything and said he was being railroaded, all that kind of stuff. Of course, these are just allegations. He's innocent until proven guilty. But then another 7 or 8 women, it's up to 16.
It is. We're at 16.
But now the NFL has said...
Well, the NFL is going to be interviewing as part of the investigation with the league that they have investigated, or they're interviewing 16, as you just mentioned, massage therapists across 8 different spas in the Baltimore area. And then to add to that, Rob, as you were just going over, 2 additional women said that they plan to be interviewed as well. So that would bring the total then to, so the 16 that have accused, and then the other 2 they want some information with, bring it up to 18. The allegation against him includes some claims that I won't get into all of it, but that he was just doing some inappropriate thing with massage therapists. So much so, as we discussed before, 2 of these places, 2 spas banned him from coming back. Not like a, hey, get out. You're banned from coming, which
Don't
that
ever
is pretty.
Come again.
That's just. I'm gonna keep moving.
Go ahead.
That's the damning part to me is if you have a business that says they've put you on a do not come back list.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just keep going.
I'm done. I just gave you all the information. So you're up.
There we are. All right. You're an unflappable news man.
I am. I'm done. Teleprompter's done.
Right. What's on the prompter?
Yep.
Yes. But Justin Tucker. So here's the story. We're just going to keep it real with you, okay? There's two stories out here.
I think I know where you're going.
It is. So we're not afraid to have a real conversation, and we want to hear from listeners and have a real conversation. Why isn't this story, this is what I hear all the time, isn't as big as Deshaun Watson? It's the same thing. Deshaun Watson, oh my God, headlines, all this stuff. Deshaun Watson. And obviously there's 2 things that separate these guys. Justin Tucker's white, Deshaun Watson's black. So that's always going to play. That's a part of Americana and this country. 100%. And anybody who says that you shouldn't see race or talk about it, it's not realistic.
They're not,
because we already know that there's a difference, okay? But there's a bigger difference, at least for me.
Okay.
And I'm not discounting that oftentimes that plays a factor in how things are reported. I've been in this business 39 years. I've seen all kinds of stuff. But in this case, I think the reason it's not nearly as big is because of the stature in these guys' jobs when it comes to in the NFL. Most people, even NFL fans, don't know who Justin Tucker is. The kicker from Baltimore. That's how the kicker from Baltimore missed, and we know he was one of the best kickers coming in the last year. And if you follow football and whatever, you know who he is, right?
Yeah.
I told you. I was in Detroit when he kicked that 98-yard field goal to beat the Lions or whatever it was.
Right.
Ridiculous.
We'll roll with 98.
Right. Deshaun Watson was a starting quarterback making millions of dollars. There's only 32 of them. Everybody knows who the quarterbacks are, and there's only 15 good ones.
Maybe.
Right? 12 good ones.
Right.
And he was in that upper echelon of the 12. And I do believe that it has a lot more to do with their position, status in the league, amount of money they make, and notoriety. I really do. And I think that's why. Now, the NFL's getting involved. There's going to be, there could be the same kind of thing, a suspension, all that kind of stuff, and all that kind of smoke can come to Justin Tucker, right? And all right. But it's not going to have the impact that a starting quarterback gets nabbed for this. It just doesn't. And that's my part. I think I'm not naive to the race part in this country and the coverage, right, on different stories. But in this case, I really believe that the status of these 2 guys are what separates why this is an A1 story if it's Deshaun Watson, and maybe below the fold A1 story for a kicker.
I'm going to add a few things. So one, obviously what plays a role is race. That's just where America, it is drenched in the fabric. It is entrenched in the fabric of this society. It is what dominates is if you look at the O.J. Simpson case, is what made it. It was race. It was celebriton. It was sex. It was, all these things that make America America and what makes things salacious and why we love things. So race absolutely plays a role in just about any and everything in this country. Let's just put that down, exclamation point, and move forward. I completely agree with you. It is positional, right? Deshaun Watson wasn't just a quarterback. He wasn't even just a good one. He was an MVP candidate. We were saying at that time, man, if he had a better team, he would be in the Super Bowl. Remember what he was doing in the playoffs single-handedly? We were literally calling him Superman. So it was coming off a season where we're like, can he be the best or top 2 or 3 quarterbacks in this entire football league? Those were the conversations we were having about Deshaun Watson when this happened. I'm going to add another layer to you. Timing of when this came out. If this were to come out week 4 of the NFL season, when he's still trying to kick wins for his team, when he's still trying to kick, his way into the playoffs with his team, I think it becomes bigger because while he may not be the big position, he is one of the more popular players on that team just because he's been there for so long. Anybody who knows football, well, Justin Tucker's been there for so long. They love him. They've been all season long when he was missing kicks. Lamar, we believe in JT. We believe in JT. John Harbaugh, JT's the guy. We'll trust him at any time. So he is one of those guys on that team, one of the leaders. So if this were during the regular season, week 5, 6, 7-ish, this would have been a bigger story because one of the guys they depend on is in this position. So I absolutely believe that played a role as well. But it is going to be interesting to see how the NFL chooses to handle it with this investigation. What happens outside of this? If this carries into the offseason, into next season, does he retire now because he's old enough that he could retire, separate this from this, he could have retired. He had a great career. Maybe he missed some kicks. He feels like it's time. So separate from this, he could retire, and it wouldn't have been crazy or asinine to think that. Does he step away? The only other thing I'll add, going back to our first point, Rob, why somebody may say, no, it's race more than anything, is if you look at an example like Ray Rice, another person that was on the Baltimore Ravens, and you look at someone who's Dana White, who was literally on camera smacking his wife. And that story came, and that story went, and he literally runs an entire massive sport league in this country in the UFC. So it was not like he's a 50th ranked fighter in the UFC that nobody cared about, or a kicker, the kicker version of a UFC fighter. He runs that league. He is the face of that league, smacking his wife on tape. And that just kind of disappeared to the tune of him just during inauguration, standing behind the president of the free world. So that just shows you that's a master factor to me. Why someone will say, nah, Rob, nah, Kelvin, I hear you in race, but it is mostly race than the other things. I could see why someone would say that. I don't look at
them the same. I really don't, because one, and I don't want to get into him, to Dana White, where Ray Rice was under a governing body who banned him from the league, suspended him or whatever, and it was videotape that you saw. This wasn't a slap, and I'm not trying to make it. He's still violence. It was about as violent of a hit as I've ever shocking. Would you say that video was shocking?
Without a doubt. There's no.
I don't think they're on the same level, and I'm not making Dana White. Dana White wasn't stripped of his ownership of his business. Yeah. If people were really appalled, stop going to the events, boycotting that. The NFL had to answer to, obviously, the fans, and was in a different situation because they're the governing body of the players and what went on. Remember, originally before the video, he only got a game suspension. Mm-hmm. So they didn't do that much about it, even though they knew something went down, right? He only got like a game suspension when they saw the video of him dragging her out, but when they saw the video of him inside, that totally changed everything.
I hear you.
That's all I'm saying.
I would agree that, this, if you're going literally by the severity of said action, might not quite be the same. But what I'm saying is the fact that Dana White, it literally, did anything happen? Was there a fine? Was there a UFC coming out saying?
From who?
But I'm saying.
No, I'm saying from who?
But I'm going there. Was there something where even he was, so as the leader of said franchise, I'm going to step away for a year, 2 years. I'm going to get some help. I'm going to go seek anger management. Any of that. And then, as I'm talking about us as media, we didn't cover. Ray Rice was covered to the ends of the earth, to the point we never saw him carry a football again. So I'm just
he was
simply
at the end of his career, though.
But I'm just simply saying I could see why someone would say when these types of things can happen, it doesn't seem to be the same. But again, there are three things for me. Race, mostly I would say, again, the position, and then lastly the timing. Because, again, if this would have happened during the regular season, it would have been interesting to see it play out more. For
All
sure.
right.